welcome everybody to and through the door with the ring. Thanks for joining us. Mark Yarajani with 21st Century. And like Tommy was kind of talking about a little earlier, this is supposed to be a thought-provoking webinar. It's really designed to give you guys tips and tricks on, how to grow leads and become more profitable with the ring. Tommy Leonard here with the ring. We've done this over the past few years. These are my favorite webinars to do, just because it's really engaging. It really gets you thinking. It's not just him throwing a bunch of specs at you and you should buy this because of this and blah, blah, blah. He really has a creatively genius way of thinking over the past few years. We've been talking. No pressure, Tommy. But if you guys can just try to implement at least one of his ideas, I'm really confident that it will help grow your business. So as always, this webinar is being recorded and it'll be available for you or your employees if you want to watch this, at night or whenever. It's going to be in our virtual conference center on our website, so you can check back and see that. I should have that up by the end of the day. And if there are any questions at all, please feel free to type them in the chat box. We'll get those answered throughout, or at the end, we'll have to see, where Tommy is in his presentation. Don't want to get him off. If he's on a roll, I don't want to stop him. And yeah, we were just saying, maybe he give away a stick-up Cam Elite. I guess we could talk through that throughout. Maybe a couple things. Tommy's amazing with giving. Our virtual roadshow, I think you gave away like 10 things, and I was, oh man, I hope he's going to be giving away, not us. Anyway, Tommy, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you being here, and you can go ahead and take it away. You can continue your thought.
No problem. Listen, as a couple people more jump on, I'm Tommy Leonard. I'm the East Coast accounts rep for Ring. So anybody who buys Ring with the intention of installing it for someone else falls under my umbrella. I'm from the tip of Maine to the southern coast of Florida. So if you're in that world, welcome and thank you. Before I was with Ring, and I've been here for 2 years, I spent 16 years between Best Buy, Magnolia, Bravas, Mainline Sound and Video, doing consultations, system designing, installing, crawling through attics and crawl spaces, trying to find unique partnerships that could fill my calendar with consults, because I figured out that if I could get into a living room, I could make money. So my one thing, and we're going to talk a lot about, there's a book out there called The One Thing, and I'm going to actively mute you guys as often as I can.
Yeah, it's muted. Yeah.
Just to keep the distractions down, but I get off track easily. But what I figured out is that there's a lot of times there's one thing that we can be doing at a time that dramatically changes our business, right? A lot of times I call them buttons, and you'll hear me refer to that throughout this, where I say, listen, if you find a button that every time you hit it, it spits out $1, stop spending time looking for other buttons. Just hit that button until a $2 button magically presents itself to you. Or you can pay someone to go and start hitting that button for you. But under no circumstances should you stop hitting that button that spits out money. So with that being said, like Mark said, please hammer me with questions, doubt me, come at me, bro. I swim around in these waters very comfortably. I've stood in living rooms and sold houses for... No, actually, I didn't sell any houses, but I did run a real estate office for 3 years because I taught this class there once. So happy to help. Love being challenged. Let's get after it. Let's start off with some things that Ring is doing that I think you guys should leverage right off the jump, which is Ring went out and partnered with Maximum Effort, which I'm not sure if you know is Ryan Reynolds' marketing company. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Reynolds, but he's made like $6 billion in the past 2 years just putting his name on things and flipping them. And he did it again with this. And this is a commercial I'm sure you've seen out there.
Eric, don't answer it.
Why not?
Because it's Henry again, the cat from 2 blocks over. With Ring, I can see who's at the door before I answer it. Apparently, he finds the classic ding-dong ditch to be hilarious. Newsflash, it's not.
It's kind of funny.
He doesn't listen.
So what it seems Ring has figured out, which a lot of companies have figured out, it's that if you just show people what the use case is, right? Why, how you will use something. Hey, Christopher, can you just keep yourself on mute, my friend? The phone moving around the desk is causing a lot of feedback. Thank you, sir. And that's what we're talking about today. The ability for us to look at and leverage national promotions and create opportunities for call to actions, whether that's actively or passively, right? So as we move through and we get started, I want to pause here for a second because that is my contact information. That's my cell phone number. I only have one. I don't have a work phone that gets shut off at 5 p.m. That email also goes to my phone. So if you have a short question, but you're with a client, shoot me a text message. I can get you a quick answer. If you're out on a job and you're troubleshooting a floodlight and you're on like the second hour of trying to figure out why it's doing that weird thing you've never seen one do, but customer service can't help you, this is the next level of defense. 21st Century has an army of awesome guys and they have to cover 55 brands a day. Sometimes it pays to just cut right to the chase and call the Ring guy. I like this stuff. I enjoy my job. I'm one of, I feel like few people who actually get to say that in this world. So you're never interrupting me. You're never bothering me. And if you are, you'll just get a call back the next day. The QR code below it, if you were to scan that with your cell phone right now, it'll take you to a website. That website will have three options: a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, or a 45-minute meeting. You can scan that code at any point and put time directly on my calendar to discuss an issue you're having, something that you'd like to see from Ring, feedback about whatever may be the case. Now, don't just book the time to tell me that you loved watching The Sopranos for the fourth time. I loved watching it too, but I want to help you guys make money. And I'm the East Coast account sales rep. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a high-level decision maker. So I can pass things around and shake trees, but I can't necessarily change the world. On the right side is a change that I was able to help make. We are now launching the Ring Dealer Portal, where there will be a real place for you guys to go and get your learnings done, get high resolution images and marketing videos, get webinar recordings from Ring, from the devices team, from Eero, from cross-functional teams, marketing advice, even contracts and NDAs to help you book businesses with builders and get into our builder channel. Just a lot of resources in one place. It's currently being beta tested. So if you could, go ahead and email me, tommy.leonard@ring.com, and just put in the subject line, I'd like to be a tester for the dealer portal. And I'll send you a link and you can help give us feedback on what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and who else's is better. Now, let's figure out how to make some money. Before we get into the use cases, I want to do a quick recap of the lineup. So there have been some name changes. And for a couple weeks, it's going to be pretty aggravating. And then it's going to make life so much easier. So left to right, we have some products here. We have the Video Doorbell 2020 release. The new, what that will be called soon, is the Battery Doorbell. The next one will be the Battery Doorbell Plus, and it will add features like 1536 resolution, head-to-toe video, a little bit, 2-second pre-roll in some cases if powered enough. And then we will have the Battery Doorbell Pro, which will have 3D motion detection. It'll have pre-roll, but we'll have a clear line of the Battery Doorbell Plus, the Battery Doorbell Pro. Then we have the Peephole Cam. That's back. It vanished for a while and it's back. And I'll tell you, everybody who lives in a house or an apartment who doesn't want something, maybe the doorbell doesn't face the right direction, you got to like jam it into the molding because the door is actually facing another part of the house because thanks builders and designers, right? There's no good way to actually see it, but the Peephole does see. All right, well, you can replace the Peephole that's there with a battery that's on the insides for those apartment areas. We're not going to be killing those batteries outside as fast. We're going to be able to keep it inside the door and secure. It has knock detection, which can also help if somebody's trying to let themselves in instead of using the door. It also works as a passive peephole. So it can create a really wonderful lead source for down the road, maybe, if you wanted to partner with real estate agents. Real estate agents love talking to folks in condominiums and apartment buildings because they're future first-time home buyers who typically need the most help, right? So real estate agents will target those folks. Maybe we partner with them to get some peephole cams in and help them meet the people who will then buy a house to have you fill with electronics. As we get into the wired doorbells on the right side, we have the video doorbell wired, which isn't going to change. The next one over, that wired doorbell plus, is what we all know as the Doorbell Pro. I know that's very confusing. And the one that's up there is the wired doorbell Pro, is what we know as the Pro 2. So instead of having a doorbell wired and then a Pro and a Pro 2, now we have a wired, a plus, and a Pro. And then, of course, we have everybody's favorite doorbell, the Doorbell Elite, which is our single gang flush mount power over Ethernet, our only signal over wire doorbell.
And Tom, these are the models
The
moving
new
forward, the new names for the models. Okay, so this is what we have to keep in mind moving forward then.
Yep. Now, what'll be nice is when we're at somebody's front door and we're putting in a wired doorbell Pro now, former Pro 2, and the client says, yeah, I think I've been thinking about getting cameras around the rest of the house. You can say, well, listen, I always recommend Elite. And they go, I don't know if I need that. And you go, well, you've already decided on a Pro level product. Why don't you let me go get the corresponding Pro products and let's cut out all that. And which one would you like on this side of the house? And now that we're on this side of the house, would you like to have a better view or a worse view? I see you've chosen the Pro line. Excellent choice. Sounds like 3D motion detection and eagle and bird's eye view is really important. I'm going to make sure that those dots go all the way around the house and that we're not worried about that side. So we'll just have continuous view and dots of everybody. And then that side will just be the dark, hope they don't come that way. Fingers crossed. The comparison chart here, these will all be on the dealer portal. So if you're interested in these, again, email me and I'll get you access to the dealer portal. The left to right, this time hardwired doorbells is on the left. We see the Plus and the Pro, head to toe video, bird's eye view, bird's eye zones, audio plus, 3D motion detection, 1536 resolution. The Pro has clear benefits. It's hardwired. It's beautiful. As we get into the cameras, again, I know you guys know a lot about the cameras. So left to right, indoor cam. The new indoor cam has a privacy shutter. So every time, for all those customers, for all those years who have told us, I'm not interested in being recorded inside of my house. And we've, of course, said, well, with mode schedules, I can make sure that all of your interior cameras are turned off all day until you arm the system at night. And they go, oh, well, that would be great. But if they're still more security minded than that and they want to protect their privacy, this has a little plastic shutter that when you close it, it goes doo-doo. And then when you go in the app, there's a little caution that says this camera is not detecting motion, audio, or video. Right? So it's a great solution. It's USB powered. It can even be mounted upside down in discrete locations so that and flipped in the app. It's one of our only cameras where the actual image can be flipped and you don't have to just tell the customer, well, you understand that it's upside down. It's no big deal. Next camera over, the Stick Up Cam. The Stick Up Cam Elite, I have to imagine, is your guys' favorite product of ours. It's our PoE indoor and outdoor video camera, right? So, and do me a favor, if you either are or are not a fan in a big way, drop it in the chat. Tell me if you never sell these or if this is the only camera you sell, or if you thought that it was out of stock and replaced and no longer supported, because I get all three of those answers all day. The new Stick Up Cam Pro is a bigger Molson can sized version of the Stick Up Cam that if you can't get a PoE somewhere, it has slightly higher resolution. It has a little bit more of the new age bells and whistles, but it does not have the Ethernet capabilities. It can be hardwired through a USB hardwire kit. It can be solar. It can even be plug-in, but there is no PoE solution for the Stick-Up Cam Pro. The same goes for the Spotlight Cam Plus and Pro. It should say Plus and Pro. Instead, it just says Plus and Plus because I miss details sometimes. Those are unbelievable. Each has 2 battery compartments. If you didn't know it, take the bottom off. You can put a second you can take the second battery, quick release battery, and put it in there. What's on the back of the Spotlight Cam Pro on the right side there, that bigger back box, is the USB-C hardwire kit. So if you have someone with, say you're not an electrician, but somebody wants hardwired Spotlight cams, you could contract an electrician friend of yours to just put the hardwire kits up, and then you can go and install and program the cameras because you're just plugging it into USB-C at that point. All of the hardwire part is done already. Again, if you have questions, please put it in the chat and I'll make sure to reach out to you to walk you through that process. My favorite thing about the Spotlight cameras is with the second battery and the USB-C solar panel, it is essentially a hardwired camera. I live in South Jersey in a place called Woodstown. It is by no means a tropical environment, but I have never, not once in 18 months, gone and checked or had to recharge or replace one of the batteries in my Spotlight camera that has 2 batteries and that solar panel. So if you're in a sticky spot and you can't quite get the Ethernet to that top corner because the way that they built that window or they added onto that house was just a nightmare, cool, let's upgrade them to something like the Stick-Up Cam Pro or a Spotlight Cam. Let's get it out there. Let's hardwire it or put it up solar, and let's make sure that it's battery backed up. Then we get to the floodlight cameras. I don't need to cover these guys. You guys crush these. It's our #1 SKU in most markets. What I will say is we're going to get to some fun use cases later where I may turn you a little bit off of the floodlight camera just because it's an interesting call to action. Yes, the solar panel is true winner. Several I have not touched in 3 years. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It really is. The Stick-Up cameras. Are you working on the firmware boot loop issue with the Stick-Up Cam Elite? I haven't heard of that issue. Please email me the specifics of that. But if you're having a couple of devices that have that issue and it's just a couple devices, let's go ahead and figure that out quickly so that you can stop having to do customer service stuff and we can do more finding new.
Yeah, I'm wondering too if it's just tied to that unit. If it's tied to that unit or if it's multiple. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So here's the comparison chart for cameras. Again, we're not going to go through this, guys. Pro lines up with Pro, Plus lines up with Plus. It's good to learn that at this point. I will share these out. They work great side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the customer. They don't work great for boring you to death at 10:19 in the morning on a Thursday. So a couple of products that I just want to pop into because they're going to be the most important for the use cases we're looking at. The Stick-Up Cam Elite. Again, it's $199 retail. It comes with a PoE injector in the box. So even if you know you're not going to use it, maybe specify a couple jobs with this just so you have a couple of 15-watt injectors in the van for the next job where the sales guy forgot to put it on there. And now you have to tell that customer maybe who's buying another manufacturer. You know what? I got some on the truck. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. Just keep them on the truck. It's a little baby bonus, right? It's our most secure and reliable camera. The one thing I will say is unmanaged switches are recommended. You can use managed switches from time to time. The technology interconnect gods will get angry with us and just decide that today is not the day that it wants to work with that managed switch. There doesn't appear to be any rhyme or reason. It's few and far between, but sometimes it'll just go no, and you have to swap it out or just go unmanaged in that location. It sounds strange for there not to be an explanation, but then when you think about it and you remember what industry we're in, it does start to make sense. The Spotlight Cam Pro, I can put this in here just because there's a little image of that USB-C hardwire kit. Again, if you have an electrician on staff, you have electrician buddies, if you have builder contracts, these work great because the builder or the electrician rather typically doesn't want to talk to the customer. They just want to do their job and get home. right? But we love the customer because the customer loves our ideas and pays us for them. So can we get our electrician friends to go in before us, maybe put in a couple of strategically placed outlets for us, hang a couple of these USB-C hardwire kits, which work on both the Spotlight camera and the Stick-Up Cam Pro. Maybe it's a couple of the plug-in adapters for floodlights in interesting locations, but then you get to come in once the homeowner's there, do the white glove service. You get the consultative lead for the product that's already rolled into their mortgage. Again, if that sounds fun but a little complex, please write into the chat that you're interested in that idea, and I'll reach out and we'll book some time and we'll walk through it together. Here's that floodlight camera. There is a plug-in adapter. It's a wall plate that gets hardwired to the camera, not with the power on, so you should be okay. And then you can plug it into a receptacle. It has about a 20-foot cord. This one I love. And I know some of you just looked and went, we're going to talk about a smart plug. Cool. I'm going to go get something to drink. Stop. I work with one distributor who sells $800 lighting kits. They're low voltage lighting kits. I'm not going to tell you their name. They sell this product because they sell more lighting kits, because instead of saying, hi, Mr. Customer, are you interested in $1,000 worth of landscape lights? Instead, they go, how would you like your landscape lights to turn on at night if there was ever someone in your backyard? So they're going, you already have a Ring doorbell on the front. Why not have your driveway lights welcome your guests or deter your unwanted guests? So we get to have these conversations about lighting design and use cases around lighting because of this RSL smart plug. This is like, I think it's $40 retail or $30 retail cost. You're not going to make any money on it, but you do have the ability to make a lot of money because of it, right? It's 2 independently controlled outlets. They can be programmed, come on an hour before dusk, come on at 6 p.m., whatever you want, go off at this time. Only respond to these linked devices, which are doing motion detection. Turn on with a doorbell button press. Each outlet is 900 watts. Again, they can be individually controlled. You can program it through Alexa. Alexa, turn the holiday lights on. Alexa, turn the Halloween decorations on. These things are now possible through the Alexa and Ring world, where we can say, hey, anything that is light-based, that's less than 900 watts, that plugs in, like the string lights that are in every single person's backyard who likes to have a cigar or has a grill, right? All of those lights can be pre-programmed or responsive. So when they walk out to their grill, instead of going, babe, can you turn the lights on? Maybe they just yell, Alexa, turn the barbecue lights on for an hour. Or just go out there, because the well-placed motion sensing lights from Ring or whichever other integrated brand are going to go, hey, he's at the grill in that little motion zone. I should light that area from the bottom so that we don't blast him like he's a criminal trying to escape through his own backyard. Again, if these ideas sound fun to you and you're like, I do a lot of backyards where they have those string lights, how do I do things like this? Write it in the chat, just like Monumental Technologies did, and we'll connect and I'll walk you through it. Again, these aren't all my ideas. A lot of them are. I'm kind of a weird guy. This is kind of what I do. I feel like, what if we gave pet tags to the ASPCA and offered to set up Ring systems to keep pets safe? Everybody would bully their neighbor into more of them. Don't worry, we're getting to them. But a lot of these are curated from around the country and they're already working. So if you doubt it, if you like it, either way, let's talk about it. As we move on, flood and freeze sensors. They detect floods and freezing. You can strap them to poles. Do you have a house? Does that house have plumbing? Is it near dirt or hills, and does it ever rain? Well, good news. That house has water problems, right? It integrates with Flow by Moen. It hooks up right through our Alarm Pro, which is also an Eero device. So you see all this interconnective tissue. We get to say, hey, Dry Guys, you're doing all the houses in this neighborhood every time there's a big storm. Can we partner up? And then I can do flood remediation and we can share leads and then get real referrals instead of angry referrals where we're doing jobs 2 and 3 times. Hardwire kit. Every basement you go into has that box. You know that box, and has all those wires from ADT in it. And there's probably a stack of letters saying, please pay us $50 a month on that client's countertop. We can reuse or repurpose existing contact sensors that were from a leftover system. So all of our clients who feel stuck, you're trying to talk about a home security system from Savant or whoever, Ring, whoever it's going to be, right? And they go, well, the house is already wired for ADT. That's just a weird pressure tactic that ADT fell into because they put a sticker on a box. Show them that there's another way. Save them $30 a month and use that leverage and goodwill into other solutions that would benefit their life that they're willing to pay you for. But it's an $80 retail product. Every one of them is one Z-Wave device that does 8 contact sensors, and you can have up to 100 of Z-Wave devices per alarm base station. So I don't know any houses with 800 contact sensors, but for some of you folks that do some commercial warehousing and things like that, it wouldn't not work. Indoor cam we talked about. Here's the pet tag. And we're going to get into actually how this is going to work. But if you haven't gone in and made a profile for your pet, you're nuts. Because what you're able to do is go in and say, my pet's name is Solly. She's a 35-pound blue heeler beagle mix. She loves steak and she'll come running for it. If you shake anything that sounds like it might be delicious, she'll just run up and sit right in front of you, right? So instead of walking around and meeting my neighbors like it's 1994, which nobody's going to do, and giving them all my cell phone number and having to text all of my neighbors, my dog got out. You can hit one button. Solly's out. Here's how to get her to come running. Here's what you need to know about her. And it's all because of a little baby pet tag. And then what they're going to do is, or what better yet, you're going to do is, while you're setting that up for your client, maybe you didn't sell it up front, you're just there for the installation and Fluffy's there again. You go, you know what? I got you something. I'm going to set this up real quick while I'm here just to get the installer started. And on my way out, are there any other of your neighbors who have pets that I can go help keep safe as well? Because the more pet tags that are in the neighborhood, the safer everyone's pet is. And now we have set the dominoes in motion because they're going to go, you don't have one? And we're going to start to create that fear of missing out on a safer pet by neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. And everybody is always willing to talk about pets. If you doubt me, do it. Type in the chat that you doubt that that would actually generate leads, and I'll challenge you back. And if you win, I'll send you product. And if you lose, maybe I'll send you product. As we move on, listen, this group, I'm sure, installs a lot of televisions, probably install a lot of doorbells too. Here's my challenge. Let's make 2024 the year where not a single television in a single house that we visit is incapable of answering the door that they put the video doorbell on. If there's a house with a video doorbell, whether you put it there or not, and there are 5 TVs, that client should be able to answer that door from those 5 TVs. And you're probably thinking, I'm not putting Fire Sticks on. They don't have an IR sensor. They don't have an IR port. They're not programmable in any way. I have to relinquish my life to the little blue Amazon button. False. The Amazon TV Cube is $200. It's the same price, Roku or an Apple TV. It's 2.5 by 3. It's got a hardwire Ethernet port. It does Wi-Fi 6. It's got it's 4 times as powerful as the Fire Stick, and it's got an IR port and a flasher window on the front of it. So you can program it to URC. You can program it to anything else. It even responds to voice. So you can leverage that into things like, Alexa, why isn't the television working? And go, I don't know. Would you like me to call Tommy Leonard AV and set an appointment? And we can use this to make sure that they're not just going to Google why my TV doesn't work and accidentally call the wrong person. So that's my challenge. It's TV installations, TV streaming apps, and integrations. My challenge to you guys. And if you think it's silly and not worth it, challenge me and let's talk about it. But we hang a TV, they have a video doorbell. There's no reason why the two shouldn't be connected. Now, I left this slide in here to remind me, and I want to remind you that Samsung made an announcement this week. as of February 13th of this year, any Samsung television between 2018 and 2021 will no longer natively support the Ring app. I don't know why they did it. I assume that they're pushing everybody towards smart things, which we work with. It's not that big of a deal. But I thought it was interesting that they were like, the average consumer will just change how they do it and hook it up to the other app instead of just going, I guess that doesn't work anymore. So I do think that there's going to be a sizable amount of folks out there who are like, I don't know what's going on with my TV, if it's starting to go or what, but some of the things it used to do, it doesn't do anymore. So be on the lookout for TVs in that range and bring it up. It might lead to a new TV on the wall. It might lead to a new doorbell. It might lead to a new network. So I love Samsung. I think their Frame TV is the TV that I'm going to buy next. I really do think it's awesome. But I was a little surprised by that, but SmartThings is also cool.
When is that going to be? When does that take place? They
That happened 9 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe it's been reversed by now, but like we got a notification like, hey, if you see this, just let people know, like, sorry, it's not a Ring update. Like it's just
Right.
interesting. So
Okay.
this chart here, I pulled off of some financial Forbes, I think. I'm sorry, I didn't cite it. I will cite it if anybody really wants me to. This is the projection of how many televisions will be purchased in the United States in 2018, 2019, our current year, and then 2025. So I've talked to some dealers and even some people, and even in my own mind, I'm like, man, everybody has an awesome TV. I wonder if that's going to start dwindling because it's really hard to buy a bad television anymore, like by objective standards. So are we going to be living in a world where everybody's like, mine's good enough? And the answer is a resounding no. We're not going to live in that world. TVs are going to continue, the race to the bottom of the price, but another 40 million panels in the United States. Now, just so you guys know, there's roughly 177 million adults in the United States, and about 12 million people move from home to home. So that means 28 million of those televisions are going into homes that people are not vacating or moving from, or changing locations, so they're leaving it behind. These are just people staying in their house with their 3% mortgage and going, we're not going to buy that house with the man cave, we're going to put one in. So